WW7ZYM monitoring.
Hey, this is James, WW7N. How am I coming over tonight? I had to fix an antenna.
Needed.
First part flipped off. We're definitely on Cougar Mountain tonight. I just heard eated.
You succeeded.
Okay, good to hear that. Thank you very much. WW7N standing by for the 8 p.m. net.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. It's a crossband repeater. The input is 70 centimeters and the output is at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll see the frequencies we operate on, a little background information on our club, and also you'll find a link there that will take you to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the Western Washington WW7STR's repeater 14708, which is the SeaTac Repeater Association's repeater on Cougar Mountain, and it has a tone of 103.5 for access during the net. I'll briefly pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before the net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7ZYM.
It's Bob, K9PQ. I just wanted to ask James if he could switch the repeater input over to streaming. Thanks. Back to you, Dave, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that announcement. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. So far checked in is Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. If there's anybody else wishing to join into the net. Hearing none, let's start off the net with Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Dave, good evening, everybody. It's a pretty nice day today. I got out and out out and about a little bit, and I caught a sprinkle here and there, but there's a lot of sunshine too, and pretty warm. I was moving around, moving some things, and shopping, and kind of active enough that I was just wearing this T-shirt outside, which was the first time I've done that in a little while now. So it felt good, like we're just barely hanging on to summer for a little while longer. Okay, back to you, Dave. K9BQ.
BQ, let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Yeah, today, particularly in the afternoon, was sunny out here in Kent for a couple hours anyway. Prior to that, Monday, Tuesday, and particularly, well, Tuesday especially last night, and then even this morning, it was raining pretty good. And then even after the sunshine that we had a driving downpour, probably around, I want to say around 4:30 this afternoon. It's pretty crazy weather, and yeah, I don't know. I think that is the end of summer, at least out here in Kent anyway. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have some nice weather coming up. I guess perhaps tomorrow and Friday, but then back to rain. So I don't know. So with that, K7ITX back to net control.
ITX, let's see if Jim's with us. N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I've got about the same weather to report here as Dick. Same place, basically. The weather I saw, it's supposed to be nice for about 2 days, and then we're supposed to get some precipitation every day after that for the next week or so. I don't know, that kind of messes up my plans, but I don't know what to do about that. So that's kind of the way it goes. I've got 55 degrees at the house right now. Seems to me like the warms are supposed to be in the mid to upper 60s, or maybe more like mid 60s for the next several days, except Friday is supposed to be 70-ish, 70 and a little maybe. We sure needed the rain. I guess we're still probably going to be below our average, but that's okay. Let's see. Otherwise, I'm not getting anything on the 1.2 gigahertz. And back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
W7QO, let's find out if James is going to be with us. WW7N.
Dave, I was trying to figure out what was going on with the transmitter. I think I've got a signal going out there now, but the reception is very poor in Northeast Bellevue tonight. I took a walk in the break in the rain here in Northeast Bellevue today. I just got it in before it started to pour on down. Also went out for a brief errand, and it was pretty raining significantly by the time I got back. Like Bob, I'm glad that we have pretty mild temperatures. I hope they continue throughout the winter. And man, you know, I've got a lot of repairs to do with the spring gets here, that's for sure. Using a lot of time right now to do a lot of study for professional certification, so that's pretty much taken up the whole day, along with, you know, the usual things we all have to do. So that's the weather report and activity report here from James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Back to you, Dave.
WU7N, thanks for that report. This is Dave, KD7C1. CYM in Lake City. I got 52 degrees. Seems like the theme today is rain, rain, rain from everybody. But I was inside today, made use of domestic chores, being inside, keeping dry. And also I made my donation for Powerball today, my $2 donation. So who knows? I always look at it as a donation. That's about how it goes. I can't even be surprised with a free ticket. I'll tell you, the numbers are getting wild. But anyway, a little vice now and then for getting a ticket to something that might happen somewhere, someday, sometime. That's about it here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go up to Bob, K9PQ.
Hey, well, thanks, Dave. Yeah, I keep forgetting to buy the tickets. I actually would like to buy a ticket, but I guess I'm saving money. So it's a win-win, whether I buy it or not. I do enjoy buying it. I like the idea of the donation. I look at it as you're buying a ticket to dream about what you would do at the winnings. And a friend of mine, when I was living in Chicago, he just laughed at me for buying lottery tickets, and he claimed he had as much chance of winning as I did. And, you know, he didn't, technically, but it was pretty close. my chances were so low, his chance of just like picking one up off the ground and it being the right ticket, were probably pretty close to the same odds as mine. Well, let's see, what else? I've been wanting to get back to doing FT8. I just have had a lot of things going on. I'm in the middle of trying to start a new role-playing game group through Meetup. The guy who actually started the Meetup, I'm sort of helping him, and he tried to start to have it at his house. He's wheelchair bound, and so it really made a lot of sense to have it at his house. But Meetup is the kind of organization, the kind of thing where people prefer to go someplace out rather than, you know, I think because everyone's strangers and it's an idea where you could meet somewhere. So we found a place in downtown Bothell called Zulu's, where you can play board games. They've got really nice setups. They've got you can get a room to yourself. All of it is free right now, but they have a cafe and they sort of expect you to buy some food and drinks while you're there. So, you know, it's hard to beat that deal, so that's where we're going to have it. We'll see if we can get some people to come. We scheduled something for last Monday, and nobody came. It was just the two of us. We ended up playing a board game, which was nice, but we're trying to get this group going, and hopefully it will now that we're going to Zulu's. Okay, back to you, Dave, K9PQ.
K9PQ. And get a quick ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. I'll pause momentarily in case anybody else wants to join in our net. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bob, for doing the switching on YouTube. That's very nice of you. And yeah, good luck and your success in the new board game venue. Gosh, if I lived anywhere nearer, you know, to your location, I would definitely be more serious about maybe trying it out. But I really not into driving in the dark and my old age and that sort of thing. So, and I usually hit the hay pretty early. So anyway, let's see. Last time I talked to you guys, I was in the middle of last weekend with our sports car racing in Kent at Pacific Raceway, and at the time I was complaining about what was it? Can't remember. It was a big V8 that had no business being classified as a medium bore. It was definitely large bore, but yet it was in our group. When you don't have a ton of cars, you only have 3 or 4 groups. You do have to mix large bore and medium bore together, but you raise your classification. And so anyway, and it didn't matter. That guy that was kind of cheating, it didn't matter because he became, the story was, I'll tell you what happened. So in the Sunday afternoon feature, the race that really counts, 25-minute race, the guy that was kind of bugging us was nowhere to be seen. So we were happy about that, and the race got started very nicely for us. First lap, pretty much uneventful. Pardon me, but little did I know, the guy that had been bugging us snuck up from behind and started just causing chaos. It turns out that he had a broken shock absorber and still went out anyway, and then so in the big sweeping turn that's about 300 degrees, huge sweeper, he just totally lost control and spooked the car that was right next to him, and that car got spooked and spooked us, and next thing you know, we were off-roading with the other innocent party as the culprit then exits the entire race course into the paddock, never to be seen again, but after causing us to lose 15, 16 seconds, and that allowed the slower car in our class to get that much ahead of us. And to try to recover 15, 16 seconds in a 25-minute race on a 2.5-mile course where you're only maybe 2 seconds faster or 1.5 seconds faster, it's pretty tough to win that kind of a situation. I said a little prayer, maybe a red flag or a yellow, full course yellow would allow us to get caught up and maybe change things. And I thought I was getting my wish right in front of where I was sitting. The cheetah, just big puff of smoke everywhere, and then basically blew up. I thought, oh, here it is. Here's going to be the full course. No, he was just at the most perfect spot to pull off the course, and no, it's just a localized yellow for just a few minutes. Didn't put any oil in the track or nothing. And so, no, I didn't get my wish. And then even later on, towards the end of the race, there's another flare-up. 2 cars got together that we call the kink, where it's only one or 2 cars can get through it. And anyway, a big car hit the wall by the start-finish flag and got stuck perpendicular, but no, they got him. He started up and got going again, so no luck again, no full course yellow. And then by then it was pretty much too late, but we did get second place, and we got a trophy and got on the podium, and so that was all pretty cool. Very cool, really. It was a very happy situation. It's just too bad that, the racing gods just were not with us that day. And then, to say the least, when Josh gets back into our racing stall, where we're set up with our tools and the tent and the trailer and all that, he gets out, we're telling the story, then all of a sudden I go, oh no! the windshield was smashed. So it turns out, I didn't see it at the time, but when that Cobra blew up his engine, he threw a rod, and I knew, and then I kind of remember now seeing our car kind of make it past in a split second. Well, we made it past, but not without the rod hitting the windshield that flew out of the blown up engine. So, oh my God, you can imagine how much fun it is going to be for us to get a windshield, a new windshield for a 1969 Datsun 510. So, oh gosh. And we do have a race scheduled for the first weekend of November, so I don't know how, if we'll be able to get the windshield. And we were going to put in the new, we got the new engine to put in, and now a new windshield that no one is going to want to install. We might be able to get the windshield made in time, but then try to find someone to just, no windshield people. They want to sell the windshield and the installation both. They're not into just installing and taking the risk of breaking your windshield. They're going to be scared to death. And so, anyway, luckily that's why I'm not an owner or a car driver, and I'll just have to leave that to the team, see if they can get it fixed up in time. So, anyway, it's a very exciting Sunday afternoon. K7ITX back to net control.
K7ITX. Oh, what excitement on the racetrack. Oh my. And time for an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. Bob, role play. Yeah, sounds like you're getting into other stuff there. Maybe, I don't know, some of the other gaming stuff that you did and whatnot. And didn't you do like looking for things? Although it is coming up on winter here. Dick, Tales from the Racetrack, always entertaining and frequently troubling. I can understand why, like you pointed out, people with the windshield wouldn't really want to do that necessarily. And off-roading with another competitor sounds exciting. I don't know. Definitely entertaining anyway. I can see why you enjoy going there and doing that. Jim, I missed what you said. I got a phone call at the time, so apologize for that. Let's see. The 1.2 looks pretty good tonight. It never looks really good at my house anymore, but I see your hat there, Bob. Thanks for that. Dave, the lottery. That's sort of a thorn in my side. It troubles me a little bit that the dollar amounts get so high and that there are no winners. Well, they know how many cards are out there with what numbers. It just seems to me that they should pick a card, or pick numbers until they find a match where there's at least one card out there that's going to be a winner. It always bothers me a little bit too that the dollar amounts go up so high. It just seems to me if they awarded smaller amounts, so that your odds of winning were much better, that would help a whole lot more people. I'll tell you what, a whole lot of families could use an extra $100,000, and there'd be a whole lot more winners and a whole lot more families a whole lot better off if they just didn't let the dollar amounts get up quite that high. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Let's see. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO, I guess the word is, that was my $2 worth. Let's go on to James, WW7N.
Richard, it doesn't surprise me that you would have to have a special windshield made for the car, because after all, what happens if someone throws a rod through the windshield? You would want that to stop and not go into where the driver is at. But I had not thought about the fact that you are correct. Nobody would want to install somebody else's windshield, because then they don't know what they're installing. So that would be, you'd have to find somebody who deals a lot with race cars or something, or some sort of release or something. I'm kind of curious to know if you find out how that works, how exactly that would work, because even contractors want to buy their own stuff to, repair your house. They really don't want to use what you have in the garage or somebody else's stuff, because then they don't know what they're dealing with, and then you blame them when it all falls down. So that's interesting, and Jim, all I can say is that the ping pong balls all disagree with you. They think they should be the ones to make the decision, not, just based on the numbers out there. They do know exactly which numbers are out there and even where they're bought. That, to me, is an amazing data management problem in of itself. And they can even go back to the store. I recall there was some legal case where there was some lady literally standing behind somebody else, and the first lady won some significant amount of money, and the second lady tried to say, no, we bought that ticket together, but they actually were able to get to the convenience store soon enough to get the tape and say, no, you were just standing in line, and here's the tape right here. And so it's amazing, when and I don't know, maybe they knew each other or how this lady knew that there was somebody, the lady standing in front of her was the winner, but I thought that was just fascinating, that they could get out there fast enough before the tape had even rolled around and erased itself, which most of those cheap video cassette systems or video recorder systems do. As far as they should give out more money and your odds would be better. If you're that bad off, you should enroll in EBT. I understand the odds are a little better with that, but not a sure thing. I'm not quite sure how that works. I never bought any of those tickets before. Well, anyway, let's see. I just forgot to say, I think the last time around, Richard, I'm sorry that somebody went out with broken items on a high-performance vehicle. That, to me, is mind-blowing. Why would you ever go out and stress any mechanical or machine system, I don't care what it is, with broken stuff on the car? You know it's broken. I mean, how stupid would you feel if you were rolling around in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, knowing you went out there with something like a strut or a shock absorber or something that was broken? That to me is definitely getting wrapped up in the moment. This is why they have teams of people instead of individuals of people, so somebody could say, don't do that. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Goodnow's rule of pharmacology in fast airplanes is the higher and faster and more magical the ride, the bigger the bill when you land. Always be ready to pay it. So that's it from here in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N. Let me turn it back to Dave.
7N, this is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Oh my, Richard, but you gotta look on the positive side. Those boys are fed pretty good breakfast just because you're there. So that's the positive thing that happens. So you're the hero of the morning, the first thing. The first round you win. So anyway, a good provider for that. And as far as buying tickets to the lottery, in some ways, if you don't buy a ticket, you're a winner. So you're at least $2 a ticket winner every time you don't participate in buying a lottery ticket. I don't know, for me, it's only 3 tickets a week for probably 3 weeks in a row when the odds are up high. So that's about the only time that I participate, and that's the end of it till we get back up to a lot of money again. So Anyway, it's kind of fun. Like Bob says, you think about the things that you could do with the money. Just think of all the charities that you could help out. Especially your own. So this is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's move back up to Bob, K9PQ.
Dave, yeah, and I was actually going to mention that you made my point for me, Dave. Jim, one of the reasons that they like to get these very high prizes is more people play that would not play, and they get more money. So I think they're very happy. But I take your point. I mean, they could do something like that. You could have the balls spit out a number, and if there's no winner, then you just do it again. But I think there'd be a lot of complainers with that. Somehow, I think I don't see that changing. Richard, the cheetah. I had never heard of a cheetah before, and I Googled it, and wow, what a beautiful car that is. Holy smoke. Wow, and 100% American-made. I mean, it looks a bit like a Jaguar E-Type, a bit like some Ferraris, I think. Wow, a spectacular-looking car. And I think I remember from when we talked about this before, and you were talking about having to race with some cars you didn't think you should have. I thought one of them was a Corvette. I don't know if that's right, but that's the one that sticks in my mind. Good luck, James, on the studying, and I hope you get that certification. I imagine you will. You've certainly succeeded before. And yeah, as far as going out in a race car that's broken, not only is it stupid, I'm pretty sure it's against the rules. Aren't they supposed to do inspections and all that? I mean, that's just crazy that somebody would do that. Okay, I'll send it back, Dave. K9PQ.
K9PQ, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, net on the 08 machine. So let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Yeah, Bob, yes, Corvettes were in our group this weekend. It would be the smaller block Corvette. The bigger blocks they're in a different group they call ground pounders. And so, but they are the small block Corvettes were in our group, and we're faster and more, well, yeah, our lap speed is better than a small block Corvette. We hit 130 miles per hour in the straightaway, and for a Datsun 510, I guess that's saying a little bit. And as far as, they don't really inspect us. I mean, they inspect for safety things. They inspect to make sure, especially this event. This was more of an exposition. It was the Pacific Raceway Invitational, so it wasn't really anything for points other than just for bragging rights. So you can't imagine how mad we were about that whole affair. It cost us first place, and it just goes on. Well, it cost us first place and the windshield, because had that guy not been out there to throw us behind, we would have never been behind the cheetah. So we were faster than the cheetah, except for that weird event. So I don't know, God. So anyway, I'll try to get that out of my mind. So let's see. Lotto. Yeah, the YL and we're in a Lotto club, and so we're in a group of about I think there's 12 plus, maybe 18 of us that are in this Powerball all the time, and and every once in a while we get enough to get 2 or 3 free tickets. But we've been doing this now for, I don't know, 10 years, and we've got, lots of numbers, and it's funny how we got a new club members not too long ago, and it's the news. She was always checking the numbers right away and wondering why we hadn't won. It's just crazy. So anyway, and what else? I got a call from the funeral home to say that my mom's ashes were ready to pick up. Except I screwed up. It's on Monday, and my brother, who works for a bank, lives in Tacoma. I don't. He has Monday off, but I was talking to him on the phone, but I forgot to tell him the mom's ashes were ready to pick up. And so now here we are Wednesday. They haven't been picked up, and I don't know. I just got this weird sense that they shouldn't sit in the funeral home for much longer, that I shouldn't let them sit there over the weekend. I know it sounds kind of... what difference does it make, he'll be off on next Monday, and he can pick them up, but I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go pick them up myself. I don't know. It's kind of a semi-emotional thing. Kind of odd. Ashes are ashes, though, Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, however that goes. I don't know the Bible very well. So, anyway, there was something else that you guys are talking about that piqued my interest. I'll probably remember it the next time before we sign off. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Dick, when my mom died, I kind of had in mind that I would keep her ashes over here at the house, kind of longer term. But my wife had reservations about that. I don't know why, but she overruled me, and so we never picked them up. Instead, we mailed them to where she was going to be buried, next to my father. So no one really picked them up. They went by Pony Express there. So I don't know. And then we caught up with her later. But anyway, I don't know. Don't know exactly where you have in mind to put Mom. Maybe that would be a factor. The funeral home can do or the place where they do the cremation can do a transfer without you even needing to pick them up, depending upon what you're going to do. I don't know. Let's see. Jim, known defective part. The resolution to that is they just don't tell the driver. I don't know. On aircraft, it's possible to replace a part, and the mechanic is supposedly relieved of most liability. He's supposed to inspect the thing, but he just has to put in the logbook customer furnished equipment, and then the liability essentially that it's FAA approved and all this is on the aircraft owner. So I don't know. Insofar as inspections and that go, I would expect they inspect race cars as well, or someone has to sign off on them. But I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know that, so maybe, Dick, you can inform us on how that works a little bit. And, let's see. I guess back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
In 7QO, let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Thank you, Dave. I remember customer-provided equipment. I also had experience with vendor-provided equipment, VPE. In contracts, I remember actually going to a site audit or something, and there were all these optical assemblies on a shelf that the government had purchased from someplace else and then delivered to the company I was working with at the time for installation somewhere. And I remember they all had little signs on them saying property of the United States government. And that was to differentiate it from everything else in that assembly area, which was, at that time, since it hadn't been turned over to the government yet, was the property of the company. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And also, they never misplaced any of those. They were so expensive, and they were somebody else's property. So even though they were all screwed up with everything else, they did a great job keeping track of those. I don't know, maybe I should have suggested they hang little signs on everything that said property of U.S. government, and then they wouldn't have misplaced anything. But maybe that would have destroyed the whole point of keeping the books and the value add as the assembly process went along. And, lottery tickets, I think the odds, because more people have bought them, they only give you like 1 in 375 million odds roughly. It's kind of a rough odds kind of thing. And I guess you can't get it exact. You can't get the exact odds until they know how many tickets were purchased, and then it's just a retrospective perspective. They only can give you an estimate of the odds, like 1 in 376 million or 1 in 375 million, because they don't know how many tickets have been sold. And I said, well, wait a minute, it should be a completely random thing with the little ping pong ball. So I'm not sure, when I read that, I'm not sure I completely bought that, if anybody has perspective on that, because the little ping pong balls don't care how many tickets have been sold. There could be one ticket, or there could be millions and millions of tickets. It would be the same, right? The same odds. But if anybody has thoughts on, well, how would the ping pong ball randomness relate to the tickets, some of whom the people pick the numbers, and some of whom the people let the machine pick the numbers for them. So maybe that's a far more complicated problem than I perceive it to be. Well, anyway, my signal seems to be coming through tonight, and my antenna sort of fell over, and I had to put it back up and reattach everything. So maybe that helps something, because I haven't had any problems. I don't think any dropouts. If anybody has reports on that, let me know. This is James, WW7N. Looks like we have about 19 minutes to go, so let me turn back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
7N, thanks for that. And for an ID officially, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Oh, Richard, I think broken windshield, I think you can claim that on your insurance. I don't know if that insurance covers you on a racetrack or not, but with the commercialization of funeral homes, you might be charged a storage fee. Who knows? So anyway, get mom home. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go up to Bob, T9PQ.
Okay, very good, Dave. Well, I don't want to open a can of worms, but yeah, you can find, I think there's some PBS specials, a few other things on the change in the funeral home industry, and it has undergone a huge change. It's run by a few, very few, huge conglomerates, and yeah, anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that for right now, because I'm unsure of actual facts, but it's something to take a look at, because there have been big changes and not all for the better. Yeah, on the odds, James, this is something I know something about. They are absolutely set. There is no variation depending on who buys tickets. Well, the one thing I could say is that what you don't know is if you're the only winner. So if you have the winning numbers, you know you won big, but you don't know how big, because you don't know how many other people, which is a good reason to not ever pick like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not because it has any less chance of getting picked, but because there's a huge chance that, you know, a few hundred other people have picked those same numbers. Your winnings are going to be a lot smaller. So that's my statistics advice for the day, and I think I'll just leave it at that. Back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ, let's go to Richard, K7ATS.
Yeah, funeral homes, yeah, that is pretty scary business if you ask me. I just feel like, or not feel, I had or our family had the luck, I guess, if you want to call it that, of my brother's partner being the executive administrator for an elder law attorney. In fact, an elder law attorney just, you know, probably within 3 miles from where my brother and she lives. And it's right in Fircrest, if you ever heard of Fircrest, in the University Place, Tacoma area. So the reason why I bring that up is because, I started talking to her even before, like so weird. The day before my mom passed away, I called her because I knew my mom was going on hospice, but little did we know, of course, that she would die the very next day. And so, you know, I called her just to kind of find out a couple things, what do I need to do to try to, you know, get ahead of the game, you know, now that we know she's going to be passing. And one thing that came up was funeral homes. And so an elder law attorney, of course, deals with funeral homes, sometimes in a good way and a bad way, and so we knew the good ones. And we came across, or she recommended, and I agreed, and we went with a funeral home that's family-owned, been in business since 1923, and you know, we went to their website, everything, the pricing was all there, straightforward and very, very reasonable. They didn't try to hide anything, or there wasn't any bait and switch and all that. So we feel like we did very good there. And then as far as where the ashes are going to go is, this is the ironic, this is the thing that I'm kicking myself, is because they're going to my brother's house. My brother's house was built by my mom and dad. And so the idea is that we were going to just spread the ashes, you know, I guess somewhere in some garden or around the property or whatever. This is a property that goes back to it goes back to my grandma and grandpa. It was homesteaded, for that matter, so it goes back to World War II, and it's just, you know, just in our family's history. So it just seems appropriate that that's where the ashes should be. So that's taken care of. It's just a matter of now me getting the emotional aspect of her spending one more weekend at the funeral home more than she needs to, as if there's, well, I know, so, you know, I showed you how Mika identified her spirit, not, you know, the other day in that one picture. Sister's all excited because she lives in Winthrop, and so, you know, it's pretty much winterized there now. There aren't any flowers growing, and all the plants are kind of gone into hibernation, except for one little sunflower, little tiny thing, sprouted the day she died and blossomed. So, you know, so my sister took that as a sign that Mom was saying that she's okay now and she's in heaven. So I think that was kind of cute. So let's see. And as far as, you know, oh my God, whatever you call the estate, and you know, we're lucky, I guess we're lucky if you want to call it that, that she had money left over, and it was sort of thick and thin, only because, you know, where she was staying, you know, $10,000 a month can drain your account rapidly. And so, lo and behold, we got a refund from the assisted living for $10,000, split 3 ways. So that's kind of a nice little thing. But it's going to be our only reward for quite some time, because I have a feeling the banks aren't going to be quite this quick and easy. In fact, I'm finding right now that it's going to be, I wouldn't call it an act of Congress, but an act of the Pierce County Superior Court is what it's going to be involved. Unfortunately, I don't. But again, that's the nice thing about having my brothers, you know, being tied together with an executive assistant for an elder law attorney, because they handle this kind of stuff, and she's made it sound very. Actually, she's quoting prices somewhere between $700 to $1,500 in that range for probate and all that jazz. So I don't know. I mean, it could be worse, I guess. But again, how long? You know, I'm hearing that the banks can take months before they spring loose. So this would be kind of entertaining, to say the least. And as far as inspection of bad parts on a race car in the kind of venues we travel, it's really, you know, it's what you said, James, about, you know, taking your life into your hands with, you know, in a car with bad parts. No, you wouldn't do that in your right mind. You really wouldn't, unless you're just stupid and foolish and young. That's the only thing I can think of. So, but when it occasionally does happen, like it happened this weekend, unfortunately, it's not the normal venue. Unfortunately, this team was from Canada, and so they're not down here hardly ever. But it's up to the turn workers and the race steward to document this, and maybe they have, and maybe it'll get, you know, carry on through next season. Be nice if it did. We never saw these people before, so I suspect the whole thing is meaningless. But honestly, no, it is up to the turn workers and the race steward, just like, you know, when we rear-ended Carl, I guess it was in the spring, down in, or was it last fall, in Thunder Hill, in Willows, California, just north of Sacramento. When we rear-ended a car, we've got a black mark. And, you know, 1 strike, it's okay, but 2 strikes and you're out. And so, you know, so, you know, it does get enforced, but it requires a spirit of cooperation among all the race car drivers and the teams. So, anyway, gosh, what a long-winded report. So, sorry about that, but I guess I had a lot to say. K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX has gone to Jim N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. Dick, I don't know. I would say, Mom is going to your brother's house. That sounds like a good thing. I would think if you feel more comfortable picking up before the weekend, then do it, and let your brother get her from you. But if you're okay with just waiting, then let your brother get her. So it's kind of it's your call on that, I would say. Probate, yeah. You know, one of my neighbors died not too long ago, and the executor there told me that probate could take months. In fact, they said it was going to take approximately 9 months before they expected to be able to sell my neighbor's house and my neighbor's truck. So, good luck with the court system. It's there for a reason. It just doesn't work all that quickly. So, good luck with that. And let's see. Oh, Jim, you were asking about your signal. Yeah, your signal on the 08 machine is really good. I have not experienced a single dropout of it tonight. Really good into the repeater, full quieting. So whatever you did, your rig and antenna liked it. Let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing. If anyone is concerned, this weekend, actually Saturday, there's supposed to be a partial eclipse of the sun. I was interested in looking at that. You kind of have to go down to Oregon to get a better view, but having said that, the weather guessers are predicting that it's going to be cloudy over here on Saturday, so I didn't bother concerning myself about the time of day that would be best to watch that. So, but if anyone's curious about that, you can look that up, and if the clouds magically go away, then I'll watch the eclipse. But they did also caution that you need to be wearing protective glasses at all times, because it's not going to be like a full eclipse. It's just going to always be a partial eclipse, so you'll be looking at a portion of the sun all the time. I guess that's all I got for now. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Dave, well, Jim, I would say looking at the sun is never a bright idea, not without the right equipment. Bob, thank you. Yes, can you imagine the heartbreak? Your tiny microscopic odds have kind of come through for your life, and now you have to share it with everybody else. I remember when the Lost television show was out, one of the characters, I think his name was Hurley, he only could have astronomically good luck. And this was a running theme throughout the show, as the different episodes always connected together. Like one guy that was in a wheelchair had gotten that way because he was thrown out of a upper story, and Hurley was in with his lawyer talking about how that he was wiped out of this investment because all the factory burned down or something. But there were 5 different companies, both through a clerical error, that all had it insured, and so they could sue to get 5 times the amount that the factories were ever worth to begin with. And while this discussion was going on, you heard this, as the guy that was being thrown out the window above goes flying by the window, and they're all turning around like going, what was that? So I remember he had lottery numbers, and the state lottery commissions actually said people were picking those numbers, even though, there was absolutely no basis to this whatsoever. They were completely fictional numbers off of a fictional television show, but lots of people were picking them. So I thought that was kind of funny human behavior, because if those numbers ever came up, they were going to have to split it a lot of different ways. And I thought that was humorous. We're pretty much close to the top of the hour, so let me turn it back to Dave and give our net control the last word tonight.
W7N, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Oh, figuring out what to do with your estate when you pass on. My advice has been from attorneys, it's best to have a trust, not a will, a trust. Then you avoid probate, and then the goods are divvied up with the people in the trust. So, only needs about 4 hours of attorney hand twisting in the courts anyway to get all that to your heirs, having a trust set up. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing here next month myself. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And we got time for a final to go to Bob, K9PQ.
Hey, well, thanks. I didn't expect that. So I have one. This is one you all might know. I'm guessing you all know this. Reason why looking at the sun at an eclipse is so much more dangerous than looking at the sun when it's not an eclipse is that the sun is so bright, your eyes, the pupils become very small and very little light, much less light actually gets through, and you're not going to look at it for long. Your eyes are going to hurt if you do that. With an eclipse, only a tiny sliver is getting through, but it's the full brightness. But your eyes don't register that because it's such a tiny point of light that's why people get eye damage, because your pupils stay fully dilated. It's hitting your retina. You don't know how bad it is. You're just sitting there staring at it. So pretty soon, yep, that part of the retina is dead for the rest of your life. So that's why it's really dangerous to look at the sun during an eclipse without the right eyewear. On that cheery note, back to you, Dave, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And it's time to wrap up the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the Western Washington WW7ATS repeater 147.08, the SeaTac Repeater Association allowing us to use that repeater for our voice transmissions for our nets held on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So with that, I'm terminating the net. 9 o'clock. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Good evening all. 9 o'clock.